Hello guys and welcome to another video. So we will take a look at the patch notes and I will give you my personal thoughts about it. I think that they touched some interesting parts overall, but I don't think that it was a great patch. So let's take a look. They changed the Malkador Observer and now it costs 4 energy. And actually, I do think that this card can have a place in some Desperate Defenses deck because you already have a really high curve, so this can deal a shit ton of damage for 4 and also cycles itself because it throws you a card. So I do think that this card is actually not that bad, and also the 4 spot isn't that crowded because at 5 energy you could have um, the Manifest Destiny or Defensive Satellites. So I do think that this actually has a less competitive option for energy, except for um, the Desolated Ground and some faction cards like the Epistolary Rastan. So I do think that this card is quite good and maybe can be played in decks that have such an high curve, especially in those decks that do not play like the Reeling Sights. So not Fail, but maybe Vulcan or some other Desperate Defenses deck can actually play this. Um, then we have, if we go here, we have Compliance. Now it throws you a troop. I still do not like this card. I think that it's bad, and at 4 energy you want to do something else instead of reducing the cost of Imperial Army only troops. It includes vehicle, but like you do not discount Doombringer, you do not discount Eta Kappa, and the only thing that you really want to discount are Hydra and Mortar Carrier. So I do not think that this card is that good. Also, um, um, I mean, it's not amazing because yes, you draw a troop, but you have a 4 energy, do nothing, and also doesn't discount the thing in your hand. So you draw this discounted troops, but I mean, with Lucretia it's -2 cost, but I think that running this card you actually lose out on the maybe explosive starts of aggro Lucretia, because if you play this card you will go mid-range, you will not go aggro, because in aggro you can draw like um, this for 0 energy, wow, cool, and now you do nothing about it, so it's actually not amazing. Then we have the Triumph of Ulanor that has been changed. This card used to activate to this discount effect when an enemy troop died. Now it includes your own, so it's basically a Slayer of Worlds that makes the 2 energy um, Space Wolves card plus a Training Cage, and I think that this card is awful because you want it in your starting end, but since you have it in your starting end, you actually are reducing your end size by 1 because this is not gonna be played anytime soon, and you want this in aggro decks, but aggro decks and 1 less card don't pair well, so I do think that this is not playable at all. It's a cool concept, but I don't actually like it that much. Then we have Close Call. It used to return the damage troop to your deck, now it returns it to your hand, but I don't think that this is enough, because the troop has to be damaged. If it's damaged, maybe it could be already dead, because your opponent can take care of it. and it draws you a card, which is nice, but again, I do think that uh, if you want to bounce things, you actually have maybe faction cards that do it better. So it doesn't discount the cost or anything. So I do think that it's a pretty bad card overall. Um, the main issues with it is that the friendly troop has to be damaged. If it wasn't um, for this condition, I do think that it could be playable. Surely in some decks that have strong rally effects, or even with Melkator, for example, it can be incredibly good, but since the troop has to be damaged, um, also usually rally troops have lower stats because of the rally, so um, yeah, they are not likely to survive that much, and I don't think that this card is quite makes the cut. I do think though that a very interesting card is Technica now. This used to be played only in Targutai and give the +1/+0 to a friendly troop for every tactic in your hand, and then you discarded all the tactics in your hand. Now this card gives a mark of chaos to all the Mechanicum troops non-demons, so no Telemoth. Telemoth, you are bad. Also draws you a card which is worth 1 energy, roughly. So this with two or more troops in your in play, it's amazing. It's really strong. I tried it a bit with the Anakari Scoria, and I do think that actually there is something here, because Scoria can play it for 1 energy thanks to its drilling sight. Um, and also it's quite good at swarming the board early. I do think that this card is pretty playable and very interesting, and actually usable in more decks than before, where it only was used with Targutai, I think, and wasn't even a tier 1 deck at all. So maybe this can bring back some Mechanicum thing stuff in the game, and I would like it a lot because you don't see a lot of Mechanicum these days. I'm looking for getting the second copy actually, because I really want to play with this card. Then we have a change in Dark Angels. We got Eschaton Imperative nerf. Before it lowered the cost of every troop in your hand by 1 for each unit killed. Now it discounts 1 troop by 1, and it's bad. It's really bad, because now the tempo loss is not worth it. Maybe you could still play 1 copy of this, but it's not as good as before, when you can kill 2 stuff and actually your entire hand got discounted for 2. It's a pretty big nerf actually, and an amazing buff to Disciples of Caliban, Defenders of Caliban, because they would fear Eschaton Imperative a lot, since they want to swarm the board with 1/1s, 2/2s, and so on. This kills everything, and now you have a 2-cost Astrovel and a 4-cost Deathwing Companions, and this is a way you can lose your game with Defenders of Caliban. And now, especially if you overhand and he has the Eschaton Imperative in hand, now it's not quite as snowbally, and I think that maybe they will start playing something else in the 5 energy spot instead of the 1 Eschaton Imperative you usually see. So pretty rough change. I don't think that this was the problem with the Dark Angel. I mean, the problem, we all know it's Decure, because this snowballs the game too much, in my opinion, and it's really hard to take down turn 1 because of the 3 health. So I think that actually the Kerr was the guy to touch, or maybe Ramiel, because Ramiel is a really big tempo swing. The rest is more or less fine. Also, Hexagrammaton is really strong, but you have to play it with a specific build. So I do think that it's an okay card. They're really cool to have faction, good designed, desperate defense like um, card, because the previous example of this was Legion's Pride, which is awful, so I do think that Hexagrammaton is actually a very cool feature. Then we have a buff to the Sons of Horus, and this is a very big one, because Serger Targost got a relentless give your mark of chaos to your Astartes troop, which includes himself. Before this was an active ability that costed 2, so I do think that this makes Serger Targos maybe the best 5-drop in the game. Its stats are amazing. He has drop pod, and yes, you can also couple it with escape vent, and he cannot be targeted, and he will get for sure at least one proc of its he's relentless. And yes, I do think that this card is awesome right now. And we also got a change to the Punisher. It got where is it? Oops. Okay, the Punisher. It got +2 health, and his ability got discounted by 2. So before it was 4 energy deal 10, and now it's 2 energy deal 10. This is a very good change. The 12 health is oof, it's rough. I think that it's very high, and maybe you could see now Desperate Defense, Abaddon, or Horus, because this is actually a pretty good target for the Desperate Defense. We have Katek, which is amazing. We have Malogurst, which is amazing. We have Targost for very early game drop, and it's very beefy. I mean, this is almost as tankier than a Doombringer for for 5 energy, so it's really strong. Also, comparing with Duke, Duke has a great active ability, but has 1 less attack, can be Melgatord, doesn't have drop pod, doesn't have the relentless. I mean, this card is amazing. And then we have the Punisher that now can combo with Vengeful Spirit on turn 10 to deal 18 damage and draw your card. I mean, it's pretty rough. But yeah, I do think that there are some good changes here. Maybe I wouldn't have touched Starghost at all. I do think that this card is nice. There are cards in the Sons of Horus that actually are not great, such as Kagord Squad is unimpressive to say the least. There is the Blood Angels 3 energy card, Miku Squad. This is the same stat line as Drop Pod, as Unstoppable as the other, and also as the landing effect. So I do think that this card is actually very bad. We have Murder Squad, which is not great. It nets you a card, but it's 3/2 for 3 energy, so it's not great. We have Laco Squad, which is horrible, I think. Abacus Squad is horrible. The Durkal Squad, I mean, we have a 5/3 with Unstoppable everywhere. But also they have flank. This guy has no way of getting flank, it's dead. Zeta Squad is actually very nice though. Kadar Squad is a 4/5, can be Melkator for 5 energy, it's not great. Skroda Squad, I mean, it's nice, has a bunch of stats, but after all, this card has no impact on the board. They need something with flank other than the fast Kroger squad. But I do think that now there might be something here. Maybe with the desperate defenses that can be a nice deck. Um, but yeah, these were the changes that um, were put into the game yesterday. So I hope you guys enjoyed my commentary, and see you guys next time.